So we reviewed the concept of control. So now let's talk about when you officiate. And again, the goal here is not to make you expert officials yet. If you join me in the fall, my goal is to get you to expert, okay? For now, you're officiating middle school. But I do want to emphasize again, you're out there to protect those kids first and foremost. Number two, you're out there to do your best job because that match matters to them, to their parents, to their brother or sister, to their friends, their teammates. Like that match is important. Don't ever approach a match and go, "Oh, these kids suck," or "That team sucks," or whatever. Don't do that because they may suck. But you know what? That kid's been working for that match. You owe it to them to do your best and not screw them over or be lazy. Like, oh, I hate that kid. He's pinned. He's not really pinned, but you're just a jerk and you're mad at them for some reason. And you go, I'm tired of that kid. I'm going to just pin him. Like, so I want you to make sure you approach this the right way. Okay. So pre-meet, what's going to happen? I'm going to teach you sort of the basics because some of this stuff will be a little ragged for you. Alex, was everything wired tight and perfect every time you went to a middle school? Table held, what the kids were doing. It's not, right? So, and the good news is at middle school level, unlike the high school level, we don't have some series that leads to the state tournament and state titles, right? Like in the high school season, it's consequential. We do something wrong, suddenly you're not the number 3 seed, you're the number 4 seed at the tournament. And now you have to go face the 2-time defending champ in this, semifinals, and then your opponent gets the easier guy or whatever. Like it, stuff's consequential, right? So, but in middle school, not so much. So we're just going to deal with the realities of that middle school level competition and the fact that things will be a little ragged. So pre-meet, you're required by the start time. So if the start time, let's just use 4 o'clock. If that's the start time of the competition, you need to be there 15 minutes ahead of time. So 3:45 in uniform, ready to go, so that you can do pre-meet checks. And the only pre-meet checks that I want you to do for middle school at a minimum, right, is you're just going to introduce yourself to the coach when you get there, so he knows, okay, great, like Alex is my official today. Maybe he knows Alex because Alex he coaches at the high school, or he coaches against Alex in high school or something. Maybe he knows him. But anyway, introduce yourself to the coach. You're gonna look at the mat area to make sure like everything's okay, that there's not some big gap here. They didn't tape these 2 mats together. There's a hole there. Like you see something like that, you're gonna go, hey coach, can you get somebody to tape this? Like that's kind of dangerous. So check for safety things. Make sure there's not. Hey, this table can't be right here? That's like somebody don't run into that. Like it's supposed to be clear, like 10 feet from the edge of the mat, right? That area. Sometimes it's not possible because the middle school's small. They may have 2 mats down. It's kind of cramped in there. But so just do some basic checks, make sure everything's okay, safety wise. Just make sure, check with whoever's working your table, your scoreboard, and your scorebook. Just start with, hey, have you ever done this before? Hopefully they go, oh yeah. Hopefully you have like a teacher or an administrator from the school who's keeping the scorebook, and you're like, have you done this before? Yeah, I do that for all last time. Yeah. Like you got the 6th grade girl whose older brother's on the team and she doesn't even know what she's doing. You might have a different thing on your hands, but just check, see if they've done the job. Have you ever run this block before? Yeah, or no, I haven't. Okay, like that'll just give you some anticipation. I might have to work with this person because they are having trouble putting the points up or resetting the clock and the scoreboard in between matches or whatever. So like, just figure out what you got working at the table, okay? And then just tell the teams to line up. Hey, coach, can you have your kids line up? I'm at math. Coach, have your kids line up. Sweatshirts and sweats off. Like I'm just gonna come by and just do a quick inspection of your nails and uniform and stuff, right? And then just go down the line, just like we do to you, right? Just okay. You see your nails. Go ahead and turn. Like you're not experts in skin conditions, so don't sweat it too much unless you look at something and you go, like, I wouldn't want to be wrestling that person. Like, what the hell is that? Like, if you're that scared of something, you go, coach, where does this kid have a note? Like, otherwise, you're probably like, whatever. It's like, It's all good. So you go down. If you see some stuff that's like a uniform thing you need to take care of, like let's say the kid's shoe was tied or something, you might, hey, everybody, remember, secure your laces, right? Double knot them, tape them, or something. You're gonna get stall warning if they come untied, right? So you see one kid, like just let the whole line know that, hey, what's going on. Okay. Hey, guys, take off your sweatpants, please. Like, you know. So yeah, you three down at the end of the line too. Like, before I get there, right? So just do the quick check on them. Okay. Then other than that, we're going to, uh, depending on how you want to run it or how their school's running it, we can do the coin flip just like we do in high school to go, okay, odd or even, right? Like, captains come out here. All right, Green, you got your choice. You want the odd or even? We don't do random like weight classes in middle schools. Some leagues may do that, and if they do, that's fine. They go, hey, today we're going to start at the 122-pound weight class. Okay, whatever. But otherwise, the assumption is, yeah, we're starting at 75 pounds or 80 pounds, whatever the lightest weight is, and just going up that way. So you can have the captains come out and just do the flip. And okay, Red, you want odd or even? If we can avoid that, if you check with the coaches ahead of time, Coach, are you okay if we just flip the coin in the second period? Like instead of, again, the sixth grade girl working the scorebook trying to, who has a choice? And she's like, huh? So if we just say, we're going to flip the coin in the second period, it eliminates all that. We said, great. Second period, let's see. Green, you have a choice. So that makes it easier. Other than that, now we're ready to wrestle. Okay? So that's some basics. So in that 15 minutes, just knock that stuff out. Look for other things too, like little more advanced stuff is like, do they have blood station, like something to clean blood up, garbage can nearby? You guys have a trainer here, like, so check that stuff as well. But in general, because this is a very condensed training, I'm gonna lean on the home management and the coaches to sort of take care of a lot of that stuff on your behalf. So coaches, right? Like you're doing a middle school and some high school kid shows up to officiate, like you're the one that's going to go, yeah, we'll take care of this, that, the other, versus when I do high school, that I'm on the line to make sure a lot of stuff is sort of in place and taken care of. So we're just going to lean on those coaches to do some of that stuff. So very basic pre-meet stuff, just to make sure you're ready to go when it's time to have the athletes come out and start wrestling, okay? All right, so let's talk signals. The signals, I mean, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 20, one of us. Okay, so I only have like 8 or 9 copies of publications right now. I have some old ones out in the car. So I will pass out some copies of these right now. Coaches, you already have copies of this year rule books and stuff. So you guys don't need these. So let's just for now share. So let's just pass some of these out YouTube. You share here for the moment. And then let's go you share. Okay, back here. Free. Here. Here. All right. So turn back to the signals, back on page, 89 or something, or let's see, 83, page 83, back of your green book, which is the rules book, okay? And they change the color of these like on a yearly basis sometimes, and sometimes they keep them the same for a few years. I remember one year doing a middle school meet, and the coach was like wanting to call out some rule that had changed that year, and he's all upset, like he's expecting me to call something like that had changed that year, and he's like, hey, he's walking over the table with his rule book. I said, that's the wrong color. This year it's blue. But he changed that rule. Oh. So you got your signals here. You're gonna study these when I give you. Make sure you have your, publications, but just learn those signals in the book. Signals are a standard thing in all sports, and if you do them in a standard way, then everybody understands. Most importantly, you don't confuse the people keeping the official records, scoreboard. So part of my high school pre-meet to tables, when I'm talking to the scorekeeper, whoever's keeping the score book, that's their rule. I tell them, this is the official record. If I can't remember any differently, I have to go with what's written here, even if it's wrong. I had the wrong person win a match at state and eliminate somebody else because the scorekeeper kept the score sheet. And I couldn't remember with 100% clarity what they had missed early in the match. I knew Green had won 7-6, but the score sheet said 6-5, and I couldn't isolate that. Oh, you missed that reversal over. I couldn't remember it certainly, so it's like I'm stuck with what's on the score sheet. Wrong person gets the fancy everyone's. So that's an extreme example, but that's the official record. So the main person you're trying to make sure is on board with you when you make signals is that person keeping the score sheet. Then it's important that all these other people, like the coaches and the spectators, follow along as well. Okay? The wrestlers in general aren't like watching like you're doing signal. They're hearing. 2 green takedown, right? Like they're not looking up at me to go, is he holding up the green arm? They're just listening. Right? The 2 reversal red. Like they're just in the middle of wrestling. They're not looking at me. Everybody else out here might be. Okay. So you'll learn those signals. There's only a handful of them. And if you learn the right ones, you'll be in good stead. Okay. So let's practice some of these basic signals. Just go ahead and stand up, everybody. Like, so who knows what the signal for takedown is? It's just 2. There isn't a special, like, there's not a little dipsy do, you know, it's 2. We put you down and it's 2. There are people that do that little flourish, but that's not the signal. So it's just 2. So, and what you'll have to learn, and Alex, how long did it take you to start getting intuitive about green versus red? All right, yeah. So you have to learn, like, when you want to say 2 red, you're lifting your left hand, not your right hand, right? So green is on the right, red is on the left. So if we say 2 takedown red, make the signal 2 red. Put your left arm up for 2. And when we make a signal, the way I want you to sort of train yourself to do this, you practice this in the mirror at home. So you stick it up. I stick it up in one direction like this, hold it steady, high up too. What doesn't beget confidence in coaches and other people is when you do one of these. Do you believe that that's 2? Like, no, just throw it up there. 2 green. Like, there's something called selling the call that people will say. I don't like to use that term, but meaning just if you think it's 2, throw it up there. So you put it up high over your head, because when you do this, now you're just inviting, like, oh, you don't even know, you're not certain, but that's 2. That might ward off the question that goes like, I didn't really hear anybody. Boy, he's so, he didn't flinch. Like, he's convinced, or it's going to be useless to try to influence that call. He's already made his decision. So you stick it up there. So I stick it up there in one direction, high over my head, for about 2 seconds. Then I rotate it 90 degrees. And then about 2 seconds that way. And then I do I call around the world. I just go, everybody back here. Everybody see that? Right? Because how many fingers do I have up? How many do I have? That's why we rotate it. We don't do this either. How many do I have? Like, I don't know. It's a visual illusion. You're hypnotizing me. So we just throw it up steady in one direction, 2 seconds, so that they are seeing that. Now I do that angle. Now this angle, you see it. You see that's 3, not 1 or 2, like 3. And then I take it around the world. Everybody in this place has a chance to see it from whatever angle works for them. And then I drop it. Okay. All right. Reversal. What's the signal for reversal? It's this. Yeah. So like twice around is enough. So 2 reversal green. Let me see you do 2 reversal green. Right hand. So up above your head. Right? So we go 2 reversal green. Boom. Boom. So if you learn like to stand a certain way, to make your signals crisp, it just invites confidence in everybody watching you, including parents who might go, oh, I know that kid. She wrestles for him. Instead of them getting hung up on that, they go, she looks like she knows what she's doing. Like, boom. So, all right. Neutral position. What's that signal? Boom. Up like this. So, touchdown. Yeah. All right. It's not hands up. Okay, stick them up. It's touchdown. Right? That's neutral position. What's who knows what illegal hold is? That's potentially dangerous when it's just one hand. Both of them, like the full Nelson, right? That's the illegal hold. Out of bounds. So, technically, like we don't do this, but technically, by the letter of the rule, what we're supposed to do is, who knows what the stop signal is? Yeah, it's like halt. Give me either hand, but it's like chest high with the palm, right? Halt. That's stop. So when we stop action, it appears like that's the signal, right? And the reason we have the whistle and the signal, the visual, is because we want to make sure that in a loud place where they can't hear this whistle, maybe, and a place like the Tacoma Dome, there's a lot of ambient noise, and sometimes if I'm this far away from the table, they can't hear my whistle. Coaches in the corner probably can't hear my whistle, but you see that that's it, stop. Now, technically, by the letter of the rule, what we're supposed to do when they go out of bounds, and I don't know, but nobody does that. You make the signal for out of bounds, right? Start signal. Who knows what the start signal is? Yeah. So it's this. Now, when you watch my colleagues, you're going to see a lot of stuff that isn't the signal. Guys are whatever. Like they do a whole bunch of stuff like that. It's not that. It's just this. Just it's nice and clean. It's just a reverse karate chop.
They usually step in between them. I've seen that a lot. They really come in really between them.
Yeah. So one of them videos, right, is like in the close-in start. Did you guys watch the close-in start video? Yeah. They introduced that. Gosh, it's been almost 20 years now, I think, because they were trying to, at college, they were having problems like guys just like taking off early and then they blow out some guy's knee, right? So they started they wanted to get the referee sort of like a little bit of an obstacle. But the problem is, like when I was coaching, I was training my kids like right off the whistle, go at that leg. And you can't go out there like, and this referee is freaking standing right here. And that ruins our element of surprise. And now 2 seconds later, now I can find, well, too late. This guy's already moved. So it's like, I figured out, okay, fine. We can get the same effect by having this toll gate right here in between them. Don't go anywhere till, again, when I blow the whistle on, pull the toll gate up. I'm not in their way. I'm making the official signal. I'm using this signal to say, there's your gate. Stop. Stop until this toll gate comes up for you, okay? So that's the start signal. Just get used to, again, these signals, okay? All right, go ahead and sit down. So when you get a chance, then you'll be able to practice these in your mirror. Get just familiar with them. That's part of the job. Part of what you'll fumble around with initially when you're a referee is just some of these mechanical things, right? Like I said, you need to get reps. I appreciate volleyball for the last 5 years, and as I started blowing the whistle in volleyball, and I watched a lot of volleyball when my daughter was playing for 9 years. And so I knew a lot, but then when I was the one that had to make those signals and make those calls, I'm fumbling through them initially. And it took me like the first 2 years of being on the whistle to finally get comfortable because I do enough reps. Okay, I can serve, point this way, ball down on the floor. You just have to get those reps, and then stuff becomes second nature to you. Okay. All right. So signals. Start of a match. So we'll cover the closest start. So let me have 2 wrestlers here. So what's going to happen is when you ever are starting action, you're going to face the table. So whoever the timekeeper is the key person. Okay. Because they're the one that should be watching you. And now clock starts. Okay. So you need to be facing them. Like And ideally, if they set up the mat correctly, you see how the red band is over here and the green one's here? That's when it's right. And a lot of times in tournaments, it's not right. They'll set it up so the table's over there, and now like this red aligns on the wrong side, but I still have to stand here like this so that I can keep my eyes on the table. And then we get confusion occasionally. We have very inexperienced people where like I've had it where it's like, okay, I'm raising the green person's hand here, they won, and this person's recording that the red person won because they see this. So the ideal is like, and Coach Paul Carpio over at Chief Self got an A plus earlier this year because before his tournament, he calls me up on Friday night, first tournament of the season. He goes, "Hey Bob," he says, "when we put the mat down, like the green and the red starting line, like when you're facing the table, does red go on the left?" I go, "Yes." All their mats were oriented the correct way. Table is there, red's on the left. So now the referees, it's all perfect. Okay, so we're facing the scoring table when we start action at all times, whether it's in the neutral position to start a match or when I put them in referee's position. I gotta have them in sight. Okay, we never start with our back to them. Okay, because I have to be able to sort of make sure they can see my signal. And in some sense, if I haven't worked with them yet or enough, I might want to be double checking that 159. Like I've watched that clock go from like, well, middle school, it's a minute and a half, from 130 down to 129, like in that first sort of second. Okay, good, that's running. Versus I blow it and then I'm circling around. I go there, it still says 130 because the person hasn't hit the timer. So table's in front of us now. When I start a match, and this is more important for high stakes matches, right? And so I was doing the 3A regional down in John Beaver High School yesterday. And so we have a lot of guys, some state champions, right? Like 3A state champions are returning, like some really good wrestlers. And when you get good wrestlers, you do not want to put them in position until it's time to wrestle. Because when you put them in position, they are spring loaded. They want to go. So that is not a good time. You put them in position, and then suddenly you're going, "Oh, hey, wait, can you put it back to 0-0?" Like these guys are standing there waiting to go, spring loaded, and you're going, "Oh yeah, and put it one, yeah, period one." Like these guys are like, so we check all that stuff before. So I stand here as number one. When they come out, they're gonna know you're not wrestling until I get out of your way. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna look at that clock or that scoreboard, wherever it is, okay? And you're gonna just see, does it say 0-0, a minute 30, period one? Like, is that thing ready to go? If it is, that's my first indication that this person at the table is ready to go. Okay. So if it's not, then I go, hey, it still says 7-3, period 3, or whatever. Like, hey, oh, okay, work that out. So I got two wrestlers coming out. They're you and you. They'll check into the table, right? And then they'll come out to the mat. So you can be red, you can be green, right? So as they're walking out, you just give them a little head to toe, like, okay, she's got her headgear on, her shoelaces are tight, or whatever. Like, because if something's not right, you're gonna catch it. You can't wear a wristwatch. Right? Like I literally had kids, middle school kids, like kids wearing wristwatch. Like they don't know. So you're gonna catch that stuff before you blow the whistle in the middle of action. You go, it has a wristwatch on it. I guess like that's bad on me for not seeing it. So you just as they walk out, you're doing a little bit of a head to toe, right? So now if the scoreboard's all set, ready to go, finally, like now what we're gonna do is if Alex is the timekeeper, then I'm just gonna timer ready, and I'm gonna wait till he acknowledges. Because again, sixth grade girl working clock who's texting her friend might not be paying attention. So I'm gonna timer, and then sometimes this scorekeeper next to me is like, hey, it's not like, oh. So timer ready, yeah, okay, we got the acknowledgement. Now we're ready to go. Now we are going to start them. Within a second and a half, I'm blowing the whistle because it's gonna look like this. Okay, starting positions. See how I keep one step back, starting to get out of the way. Shake hands. Now I keep this full game here. See where I'm at as I end the whistle? Am I in their way at all? I'm out of the 10-foot circle, as a matter of fact. So the thing is, that's the way we want to close and start. We're not going to put them in position until we know everybody's set to go. And then once I put them in that position, we're shaking hands and going within a second or two. Because I don't want them waiting around anticipating that, well, when's he going to blow a whistle? So I'm ready to blow a whistle because I know he's ready to go. Good. Start your positions. One step back. Shake hands. See, I have this toll gate here still. So when we signal the start, we're blowing the whistle and moving the arm at the same time. I've seen referees screw people up even at the state tournament. Saw a kid who lost his state final on a caution because the referee, his motion looked like this. This kid false started a couple of times, including in overtime, which lost him the match, which then led to this kid getting a flagrant misconduct because he was so angry. He kind of informed the official of what his opinion of that official was. It included an F word and it included the word you and some other stuff. And in some sense, I don't blame the kid because they should be livid. Because the referee's going like this. And yeah, caution, 1 point for her. Like, that was his fault. Because as soon as this is moving, they're saying, oh, action started. And he's going, oh, I hadn't blown the whistle yet. So we blow the whistle and move the arm simultaneously. Okay? And then when we stop action, it's the same thing. Okay? That's the close and start. So that's how we're gonna, and at middle school level, a lot of the wrestlers you're gonna see it's not that high stake, they're not that, a lot of them aren't that skilled. But I want you to form this habit because it's just a good hygiene, good habit to form. Because when you graduate from high school and then you start seeing better, more skilled wrestlers, you want to have a clean hygiene about this stuff and not promote a situation again where somebody's going to get in trouble because they do false start and then she false starts and blows out her knee. You know, and that kind of stuff has happened before. So we don't want to facilitate that. Okay? That's the closest start. Okay, so now stay with me. You're going to be my wrestler. So now we'll talk about positioning. Now, positioning is important for you as an official because you have to be, like I said in the first training, you have to see it called. So that means, and coaches, right, you get frustrated with us sometimes. He's like, you know, and he is locking hands, but I'm in the wrong position. But now we get over there, like, he didn't let go. He was locking it. And I could tell, you're right. I knew he was doing it. But because I'm on the wrong side of them and I'm too slow to get over there, and the guy's like figured it out and he let it go. So we need to be in the right position to see stuff so we can call it. Or like near fall, especially. Like this one is a killer, especially in postseason matches where that's really important, where someone takes a guy down to the back and the official's taking like 2 or 3 seconds to get over there, finally go, oh, what are you talking about? Well, you just lost in 2 points because it took you like 2 or 3 seconds to get over and finally see the shoulders when he was the whole time. So being in the right position is important. Now, when they're in neutral position, okay, what I want you to do is, in general, while they're wrestling, especially at this level, middle school, you have to have a balance between being far enough away that you don't interfere with them, but close enough that you can intervene if you need to. If I need to be like, you know, stop that, you know, I don't know, blow somebody's shoulder out. Like I need to be able to get in there quick sometimes and literally put hands on somebody to stop something. But at a minimum, close enough so that if I'm verbalizing to them, they can hear. Hey, keep your fingers out of the eyes, you know, whatever. Like, because that stuff happens, right? So I want them to hear. If I'm way out here, this is not Penn State versus Iowa, and these are 2 world-class athletes. These are 2 kids, I don't know how much experience they have, and I can't be this far away from them because they can't hear me, and I can't get in there quickly to stop something. So I want you to be far enough away that you're not interfering with them, because as they're moving around, if I'm too close and now they bump into me and I'm interfering with a move, it might spoil someone's chance to score. I might cause someone to score because like suddenly like I'm tripping somebody or something. So in general, I want you to be 2 to 3 steps away. 1, 2 to 3, somewhere in this range. So see, they're far enough away from me that I'm not, hopefully, unless you're hobbled, like, if they're moving this way, I could be moving too, like, I can get out of their way, okay? So, but I'm close enough that I can be saying, hey, watch, no fingers in the eyes, like, watch that, or, hey, watch those head slaps or whatever, like, I'm telling them stuff, and they can hear, or, hey, careful with that shoulder, don't take that any further, like, I want them to hear that stuff, so, 2 to 3 steps away from them. Now, when they're in neutral position, and um, and now they just start circling around, so start tying up and stuff, you know. So ideally, so pause for a moment. Ideally, when they're in neutral position, what I want you to be able is this angle here, bisecting them perpendicular, right? Like that. Because from this angle, there's things I can't see. So if she is rubbing her head against her forehead or pokes her in the eyes, I can't really see it from here. This is not a very good angle. So ideally, I want to be in this angle, or someone put a front headlock on the other, right? So from here, I can't see what's going on with the throat and all that other stuff. So that's why I want to be in this angle, so I can, okay, is she choking her? Is she lifting that thing up? Like, I can see that from here. So ideally, when they're in neutral position, I want to be positioned so I'm bisecting that way. That way I can see all that stuff going on. Sometimes they're moving around. You'll learn, use your experience to anticipate as wrestlers move to go, yeah, of course that kid on bottom, like he's gonna move to the right. He's about to hit his whip, so that's what I'm thinking, right? Like, so I know the kid's gonna go that direction, right? Like I might start to get ahead of them a little bit, right? Anticipating. So sometimes when they're neutral and they're moving around, you might anticipate where they're going. If they're moving kind of quickly, like tie up and circle like a little quicker, right? Instead of me trying to constantly run around, sometimes I'm just gonna stand here and they just keep going around, and I'm just watching it, watching them. You know, it's like the microwave oven with the little carousel, right? I just want to watch the food go around. Like I'm not trying to keep up with it. Or if I'm gonna try to keep up, but let's say you guys are circling around that direction, right? Sometimes I'm gonna move the opposite direction, right? So yeah, I might have to go a step to get back to that place versus I'm constantly trying to, I'm going around the outside of them trying to stay in that position. Versus they're going in a certain direction and I'm just going the opposite direction, catching them every halfway around. Okay. So anyway, we're staying 2 to 3 steps away, and ideally we're sort of bisecting them. On occasion, you're not bisecting them. It happens, but just adjust when you have the chance. Okay. Now, that's in the neutral position. Ideally, with these middle school kids, what we're going to do is general approach, general philosophy here is you're in more of a sort of a teaching or coaching mode with them. At the high school level, I don't do this for kids. I don't go, hey, come on, like you got to try something. I'm not like walking them through. Like that's just on them, right? But at the middle school level, sometimes they don't know what they're doing, and like let's say you think they're stalling, or you're like, come on, Bree, you got to try something, right? Like you're literally like egging them on a little bit or helping. Like you got to get up to the mat, like you got to try something. Like, I would never tell a high school kid that. I had a kid yesterday. I hit him for stalling twice because he just won't get off his belly. There's no reason. The other guy's not laying on him. It's like action, like dude, like he just sits there like after a couple seconds, like he's stalling green. Like you have to attempt to do something. Like and he does it again. Like the next period, same stuff. So the high school level, we're not going to tell them that stuff, but at this level, it's going to be like, come on, Green, you got to open up down there. You know, like, you got to try something, Red. You got to do something other than just lay on her, right? Like you're going to help them a little bit, okay? The coaches will be okay with it again, as long as you're not telling them stuff like, oh, snap. Like you're not going to help them that way. You're going to prompt them along versus going, okay, we're stalling you. Stalling again, 1 red, stalling again, 1 red, stalling again, 2 red, you have choice. Stalling again, this match is over. Gee, we didn't even get to the second period. Like you don't want to do that, right? So you can help them a little bit. So when they're wrestling, the ideal thing is they should be wrestling in the 10-foot circle. Anyone that's certified pre-meet hears this constantly, that when you can be in the 10-foot circle, that's what the rule requires you to be. Because when we're not in the 10-foot circle, we're out here. we go out of bounds, the clock stops. It's very hard. Wrestling is intended to be a continuous action sport. Ideally, a middle school wrestling match should, in the eyes of the rules makers, probably last maybe 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Because 4.5 minutes of wrestling action and the other like 20 seconds was enough time to go, okay, you're on bottom, you're on top, let's start the second period, let's start the third period. It's not intended to be like every 7 seconds we go out of bounds and we have like literally like 15 restarts. That's not the way this sport was designed. So try to keep them in the center circle. So you just, that's one verbalization you give them when they're neutral and they're just sort of moving around, especially if they start moving around outside the 10-foot circle, right? So tie up and then just start pushing around like you're like, hey, and now break apart center circle. Like I literally do this to kids in postseason that haven't seen me before. Like and I did this yesterday. Center circle, and I'm like basically kind of running into the guys because they don't get the clue. Like they haven't been forced this way. Yeah, I'm like center circle, like crowding them, and they're like, you know, they're kind of stunned, but it's like, get over here, not over here. You can disengage, don't start again over here. Get over here if you want to engage. Do your stuff here. This is where it'll work, and we won't end up out of bounds. Okay? So, just encourage them to stay in the center. So, that's what's happening in the neutral position, right? Now, when it's time to then do like a second period, let's say we're going to just flip a coin, if we win in a tournament, or if we've agreed with the coaches in advance of dual make, like, okay, so green, red, right? You go, okay, green, your choice. Top, bottom, neutral, or defer. And if they say something that doesn't make any sense, or they're looking at their coach, take the choice from the kid, even though the coach is the one telling them. Don't go, hey, coach, what do you want? Make the kid do it. Even though they're going to look at their coach, and then sometimes they don't. Your coach is trying to help you, like. But I'm looking at her, not him. Because this is the wrestler. And we're supposed to accept the choice of the wrestler. And they need to learn to be able to make their own choice, even though a lot of you coaches probably have a protocol. It's like, look at us, like we'll tell you, like take our guidance. But the thing is it still comes from the kid. So it's like, so fine, you're looking at him, but I'm just going top, bottom, neutral, or defer. And then you're going to signal something to me, right? You're going to say, okay, you want new, and just ask them. This is a confirmation I do at all levels. Little kids, 5-year-olds, all the way up to state champions, sort of like, you want neutral? Like she just told me neutral. She says yes. Okay, great. Green chooses the neutral position or whatever, right? Like, so I don't want to fool her and go, well, you said neutral, but he was telling me you really meant top or whatever. Like, that's why I go in neutral, and he's going, no, top. And she goes, no, top. Well, you want top? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Green chooses top or whatever. Like, we're just going to make sure this person gets their choice. I want it to come from them, and I'm going to confirm it with them. I'm not saying, okay, you said neutral. Like, what? Like, you don't want neutral, that's fine. Like, but once I confirm it with you a second time like that, now you are stuck with it. So I'm going to go, oh, wait a minute, I changed my mind. Too late. Like, you had 2 chances at it, and twice in a row you told me neutral. Like, we're doing neutral. Okay. Next time, don't confirm for me if you're not really confirming. Like, wait. Say, no, I don't want that. Okay, what do you want? Want bottom? Want bottom? Bottom. Okay. Green chooses bottom. Okay. So we're gonna get the choice. So let's say you chose bottom. So what we're gonna do when we put them in position, hold off the other person. So let's say red's on top. If when I'm at my best, I'll use the red armband. Use stop like green. Take your position on the bottom. Now, at this level, we don't want to be cautioning kids because you'll have to issue a lot of cautions for these people potentially. So I have enough trouble with high school kids, like sometimes not knowing position. So, but the thing is, I want you to put them in the proper position because I want them to learn the proper position. So if she lines up and puts her hands on the line, for instance, and I will tell them, like wrestlers, you can't touch the lines in that starting position with hands or knees. Okay, like, so I didn't caution her, I just told her the right thing to do. And I'm gonna make her do the right thing, I'm gonna wait for her to do it. Okay, so once we put this person on the bottom, then say, are you set? And if they say no, then fine, like she's adjusting her headgear, hold on a second, like That's fine. Like, just do what you need to do. And then when she gets in position, like, you put her mouth guard back in with, like, okay, are you set now? Yes. Okay. Don't move. Like, I don't want this person moving and cause a false start. So now you're stuck there. So red, take your position. Now, as red's getting the same thing, we just want to make sure palm behind the elbow. Some of these kids need an anatomy class. They put my hand here or down here or something, right? And they go elbow, and they like would go towards the shoulder or something. And they go, no, elbow. Like, no. Let's make sure palm behind the elbow. It doesn't have to be a certain way. The four fingers facing forward, or up or down. Just the palm behind the elbow. It doesn't have to be touching the elbow. It could be like this, be like this, whatever. Like whatever they can. Just as long as the palm's behind the elbow. Okay, that's all we care about. Okay, head has to be over the midline of the back. The head, her head is this wide. So any part of her head is the midlines for her spine, right? If any part of her head is over that spine, that's fine. It doesn't have to be centered perfectly. If just her nose is over the midline, that's fine with me. Okay, or just the back, very back, like portion of her head or something like that. Just as long as her head, part of her head is over the midline. It doesn't have to be on the back. It doesn't have to be over it. So she could have her head resting on it. She could have her head up above it, right? She could have it sideways like that. She could be looking at me. She could be doing whatever she wants as long as her head, some part of it is over this midline. Okay. She has to have the other palm. Where does it have to be? Belly button. Yeah. Keep in mind the palm goes from like here to here. So this and this to me are both on the belly button. Even though you go, hey, you got a tight waist. If I'm looking at it, well, the heel of her hand is on the belly button. That's part of the palm. So it may look like a tight waist to you, but it's just the palm. Maybe this isn't on the belly button. So palm on the belly button. And then back here, she's required to have one knee down on what's called the near side. The near side is the side that you put the palm behind the elbow. That's considered the near side. So this plane right here, she has to have one knee down. The other knee can be down or up, doesn't matter. And then she can't straddle her opponents. She can't have her forward of her feet there. So like straddle, yeah, that would be straddling, right? And she can't be touching her back here with that leg. So that's the legal starting position. Now, if it isn't completely perfect, like don't obsess over it, but let's help them to learn the right position. So if they're doing the wrong thing, and I go, okay, no, palm on the elbow, right? Like, and then I just let them get it in position. Sometimes you might have to like, I don't know, yeah, actually help them. But the thing is, let's help them learn the right position so that they don't get to high school and their coach is like saying, oh, this kid doesn't even know how to get in the right starting position. We're gonna help them, okay? So we're okay. Green, take your position. Are you set? Don't move. Red, take your position. Now I'm stepping back. So I'm getting back in my 3 steps away. I'm off to this side so I can see that leg back there. I can see the palm of the belly. I can see the head. Okay, so from this angle, I can see it. And then we're required to say set because that tells them both. All right, both of you like freeze until you hear this whistle. If you move after I say set, that's a false start. So it's like set. Okay, so that's the sequence. Caution a kid if he's a knucklehead and you just get tired again and the same correction for the 5th time. Head over the back, like, all right, I mean, you know what? Caution red. Head over the back, like, do you get it yet? I told you 4 times, like, what the hell? So, if you're frustrated, go ahead and caution. Otherwise, just tell them the right thing. Hopefully, they're picking it up and actually doing it. But it does happen on occasion. Right? And so if it doesn't, it's no big deal. Cautions are no big deal. They're no big deal at all because you get 2 of them before there was even a point issue. So it's the least consequential violation in the whole book. That's why it's okay to issue cautions actually because it's like fine, you get you get another one. If nothing happens, maybe you do a second one. Like it's not until I get the 3rd one that she gets a point. So, but we're not going to do that in middle school level. Just help them get in the right position. So we get in position, green on bottom, right? Are you set? Don't move in. So we'll do some simulated wrestling. You guys don't hurt each other, but just do a little bit. Just roll around a little bit slowly, right? And then red, take your position. Set. And now, as they're wrestling around, pause for a moment. Where we want to be positioned is So take the bottom person's spine as sort of the center line. We want to be like probably 45 degrees from that center line either side. So there's like a 90-degree angle. I call it the front quartering approach. So this angle here, I want to be out in this place out here somewhere. When I'm out over here, like this is the wrong place to be because this is a place where I don't see locking hands, for instance. I don't see her grabbing one finger and pulling it back, right? Because I'm on the wrong side of the action. I'm not going to see anything over here. So we want to be in the front quartering position again. 1, 2 to 3 steps away, out here in front somewhere in that sort of zone. Okay? So somewhere out here. So as they're wrestling, go ahead and keep wrestling around now. I'm all looking at you. And again, I'm trying to anticipate like what's going on. Like, is she about to break her down in that direction? Is she about to sit out or whatever? Like, if she's starting to stand up, I'm coming down here. So I'm staying in front, right? So I can keep my eyes on the action. Okay? All right. Now, if I need to talk to them, I might take this out of my mouth so I can do the speak, and then I say things like, hey, be careful, or whatever. Yeah, so keep going. So, all right, stop for a moment. What do we got here? Staying right there. What do we have here? How do we have an escape?
Because lost restraining power, and loss of.
Yes. So at that moment, see, she doesn't have an advantage anymore, and she doesn't have the ability to restrain her because even if she was holding on to her, go ahead and like you had the one arm. Like, can she move like in one direction 4 feet? Yeah, she could push her, she could back up, right? Like, so she's not restraining her anymore, and because they're in this position now, she doesn't have the advantage. Like, I had a situation. You guys can help make this call. This happened yesterday. Kid stands up. So this is the defensive wrestler. So defensive wrestler got in a standing position, and then this offensive wrestler, they were like kind of side by side, was doing this. Okay, and they're in this position. What do we got here? So I'm the offensive wrestler. She's the defensive wrestler. What do we have here? We're standing up like this, side by side, hip to hip. What do you think? What do you think I called or didn't call? You don't, yeah. So you don't. I didn't award an escape here, and the one coach is wondering why didn't we after these matches. Well, how come that's not an escape? I said because the offensive wrestler had this front headlock like this, still had restraining power on your guy. He wasn't free to move around. If he was, he would have been gone. He couldn't go. Like, he had him like this, and then eventually they like I don't remember if it was like they went out of bounds or time ran out or something, but we kind of terminated it like up here somewhere. He's wondering, well, how come my kid doesn't get an escape? Still had restraining power in that front headlock. If it hadn't been locked around there, it would have been more like this. Like, then maybe I'm thinking about it, right? Because now do I have an advantage? No, not when we're kind of side by side, right? Do I have restraining power? Could you like pull away, or I can't really stop it very easily? That would have been different than this. So in that moment, you're right. I'm just going, nope, Green's still in control, Green's still in control, end of period or whatever. Hey, where's the escape? No escape. Green still has control. Okay. So we're watching that action. So, and then when she gets to that, right, and then we're gonna say neutral, one escape, red. And again, I'm gonna show it in multiple directions, take it around the world. Okay. Now I'm just watching action. They're neutral. In on that. Watching that. What do I do now? 2, red, takedown. Alright, so you see how I just stay out in this front quartering position. That's what I want to be positioned. Alright, so that's sort of your basic wrestling. Again, use your own wrestling knowledge to anticipate sort of where they're about to move. You just think in your own head, yeah, if I'm down there like that, and I see she's trying a knee slide, I know where this is going. Like, if she's got to be moving this way. Just think about it. Because if you anticipate, you won't find yourself behind the action, chasing them. Okay? So, just use your common sense. Okay? Now, So now let's go into like a near fall situation. So in near fall, so she puts a half on her. So turn this way so they can sort of see the shoulders the way I was. Okay. Go 90 degrees more. So they can come 90 degrees more. Yeah, there you go. So stop there for a moment. So and it's a little hard with the hood, but the thing is, like we're watching a near fall about to happen, right? So she put that half on, and we're out here in front, right? So I can see the shoulders, and so I want to watch. And with near fall and fall, we're gonna have to get down low. Like there's times when literally I have to get down like this because I'm looking at a little sliver of light. Not quite there. Oh, I touched it. No. So we have to match level so we can see those shoulders. I can't be calling a fall from up here because I can't see for certain if those shoulders are both touching, right? So things as this starts to happen, we're gonna go down in level and she keeps turning her. Now, we can stop. Do we have near fall criteria here? Yeah, that's like 25 degrees, not 45, right? And so now we're gonna start counting. Now, when we count near fall, and you'll have to get used to this because this is new mechanics for you, right? Like, the ideal is that we want to verbalize, because they're not seeing this, right? You might be seeing it in the corner or the bench, but they don't. So as a courtesy, that's why we're going 1,001, right? Did you hear me count to 1? 1,002. Now she knows, oh, I got 2 counts. That means I got 2 points at this point, right? She'll hear 1,003. Come back up a little bit. Up, and I stop and they'll put her in again. 1,001. Hopefully you coaches in the corner now have started the count over because she came out of their folk right there, and she knows too. They're like down 2, down 3, down 4, down 5. She hears me say 5, whatever. She knows. Okay, I got it. They know. Hey, you got your 3. Like either put her away or okay, let her back up again. Like make a decision. But we're trying to verbalize so they can hear primarily. I'm also verbalizing so everybody else can hear because again, just like in that situation where if I don't verbalize and they just see my arm moving like 5 times, but they don't realize it's 3, and then 1, 2, then they're not getting 3-point air fall, you're getting a 2-point air fall. So the verbalizing and the arm swing is letting everyone know what's going on. And again, we're watching level, so she keeps pushing her down, and I'm getting lower because I have to see, is that thing touching? I know that first shoulder, her right shoulder is touching. Now the question is her left shoulder touching. She has this very loose sweatshirt on, so it's a very much of a hindrance, which is one of the reasons why the rules on equipment and uniform is that you're supposed to wear a form-fitting shirt, not a loose t-shirt. Because a loose t-shirt hanging down like that, you're going to get called for a pin. I can't tell if the shoulder's touching or not. I just see that thing that's attached to her body is touching, and you know what? That counts the same as her shoulder in that moment. A tight-fitting shirt, like I wouldn't make that mistake. But anyway, so we're down so we can see. Now again, in keeping with you have to see it's called, especially with a fall. I know a lot of coaches will get frustrated with me because it's like they want me to call the fall quicker, but I can't see it. And I'm trying to move around, find an angle sometimes, so I can see both shoulders that they're in contact, and that they're in contact for 2 seconds. In my mind, 1,001, 1,002. That's 2 seconds. This is not 2 seconds. You put your shoulder down. That wasn't even half a second. And believe me, referees do this. They get amped up just like competitors. Just like, oh, they're saying, just throwing the head and arm, you know. It's like, oh my God, oh. Like they're not like, oh, got it down, 1,001, 1,000, no, it's back up again. Like you have to have that patience. Just remember, like I said, that match matters to these kids. Do not terminate this match early when it's not deserved. Because if I call that pin, it's over. She wins, she loses, it's over. There's no second chance. So make sure you see it and try to discipline yourself to count to 2. Sometimes when I'm in my initial near fall count, it's easy, right? So if you put her down flat, like 1,001, 1,002. Because it was just down flat the whole time while I was taking that verbal count. Okay? So that's easy. But when you've exhausted your count and then she puts it down, in your mind, it's on whatever your cadence is. If you go 1, 2, time yourself so you know, okay, you can get up or down. Time yourself so you know how long your count is. One of the things when I was coaching, and then I'd watch video of our wrestlers, and as I was watching video of wrestlers, and I was starting to watch video of these officials calling these matches and realizing they are giving away a lot of near fall points that are not because they are not counting slowly. They are going like this. Tell me how long you think this took. 1, 2. That's a 2-point near fall I'm about to award. That took 0.8 seconds. It requires 2 seconds in criteria to earn 2 points. And I saw a hell of a lot of that when I was coaching. It's like, 1, 2, and then the guy rolls out and it's like, oh, there's 2 near fall. Like hell that was 2. Like you just gave that 2 points. He didn't earn that. So discipline yourself, learn, like, the reason I say 1001, 1002, because I know that takes me 1 second, like 1001. Like, I've timed it over the years. When I count to 5, it's going to be like between like 4.8 seconds and 5.1 seconds, probably. I mean, I'm not perfect, but it's pretty close. It ain't 2 counts in 0.8 seconds. And believe me, the reason I know it's 0.8 seconds is because I'm watching video and looking at the little timer on the video and realizing, like, that dude just swiped twice. And the counter on the video is only gone like less than 1 second. So a lot of points get given away if you don't have a count that's close enough to 1 second. It's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, but let's make it closer to a second than it is to a tenth of a second. Okay. The other thing I'm going to tell you is when you count near fall, if you can train yourself to this mechanic, you'll avoid giving away points too. The reason they give away a lot of points is because they move their arm as they make the count. 1, 2, oh, and you're out, okay, 2 near fall. That's how you get to 0.8 seconds on 2 swipes, because you're moving it before you've made the count. If you watch me officiate, I count first, then I move. 1001, 1002. See what I'm doing? 1003. Now you see the third swipe. So I've said the 1 second has passed before I start my motion. And I'm starting the next count as this is out here. Because a full second is going to go by before I make that motion again. So all of you watching me visually, when you see that swing, the second has already happened. But when you see people going, oh, 1, 2, like they haven't reached the full second. They're just moving their arm right off the bat. They think, oh, you're in criteria. I'm moving that. Once they start moving their arm, they're counting that. That's going to be a count. That's why they get 2 counts in so quick. It's because they start making that second count. They're just going to give that second count. Once that arm starts, they're not going to go, oh, you know what? I withdraw that second one. Everybody ignore the 3/4 of a count they just made there. No, they're just going to go, oh, that's 2. So we don't want to be giving away points. So if you train yourself to that mechanic and whatever your cadence is, mine's 1001, 1002, 1003. If yours is 1, 2, 3, whatever that is, then just say it first. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Like, count it first, then move. If you do that, you won't give away points that aren't earned on your fall, okay? And the same thing goes with your fall. You see the 2 shoulders touching, that's when your count starts. 1001, 1000, no, let's back up again. 1001, 1001, 1000. That's why people get frustrated sometimes with me, like, yeah, he was pinned for like, half a second or 1.4 seconds or something. Yeah, I saw it too. I was counting it. Like, it wasn't 2 seconds yet. It takes 2 seconds. I had a kid, White River, who's 2-time state champion. He just had bad luck whenever I did his matches. Like, I did a state final match and this happened, but I did a match, a dual meet during the season, his junior year when he won his first title. Like, he has the kid in near fall for like literally like 45 seconds, and it's close. Like, it's just like, oh, there's a bunch of times I'm going in my mind, 1001, 1001, 1001, 1000. And so it goes for like 45 seconds, and he's like in the middle of this, and I get this occasionally. He like gives me that glare, like, what the F, right? Like, come on, ref. Where's the pin? And I'm just like, looking at shoulders, ignoring that. And so finally the match ends. It was the third period, and he's like whips this kid. It's like 13-1 or something, but he doesn't get the ball, right? So we're out here, and as we are walking back to the center of the mat for the handshake ceremony, right? And we're walking along, and he goes like this to me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to ignore that one. I get it. You're frustrated. You thought you had the thing. You didn't have it, but I get it. You're like, and he didn't say anything, but he said a lot with that whole kind of, what the hell? Kind of thing. So I'm like, I'm just going to ignore that. But before we get in here, he does it again. And so now I was like, all right, stop. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. I said, like I told you in the preview, do not criticize the official. Like, and he's like rolling his eyes, like whatever, like, you know, okay, fine, he's a good wrestler. Raise his hand, you know, okay, whatever. Well, so after the dual meet ends, I'm sitting there taking a break, and then he comes over and he goes, "Sir," he says, "I'd like to apologize for what I did." And I said, "Oh," I respect that. I said, "I get it. You were frustrated." Like I said, but you know, for a pin, it has to be both shoulders in contact met with 2 full seconds. I go, 2 seconds is a lot longer than you think. I said, if you want to know how long 2 seconds is, try putting a flame 1 inch under your forearm for 2 seconds. You're going to find out how long 2 seconds is. And it isn't this long. It's this long. Like, that's 2 seconds. You laugh. Like, yeah, 2 seconds is a long time. So count that in your head, because again, you're issuing the death penalty to one of these wrestlers if you're going to call the ball. Let's just make sure that it's warranted, because there's no coming back from the death penalty. Once you call that ball, it's ultimate. There is no, oh, you know, like I could make a wrong call on a reversal or something. If they said, okay, take the reversal off, like fine, like we keep wrestling. But the pin, once I call the pin, that's over, and then we don't get to go. You know, in my mind, I'm going, yeah, I think that was only about 1 second. Like, that we don't want to screw that kid, okay? So that's how we call near fall and fall, okay? It takes a little art to know what, when you get your rules book, study near fall criteria. It's in rule 5-11. There's 4 of them. Who knows what the 4 near fall criteria are? I'll see if any of you know this. You know one of them for sure. Name the most obvious one that you know. Yeah, one touching and the other within 45. Like I had a situation at the gut check where kid, he needs 2 points to win the match. It's at the very end. This kid ended up winning state for Lincoln High School at Tacoma last year at 120, and he's wrestling some kid from Top Nation. It's a 1-point bout, and he's putting the guy in the near fall criteria. Sure enough, he gets him here, and I get 1,001, and then the kid comes up like this. And even though his shoulders are still like 45 degrees, like I stopped the count because the shoulder came up because he's not meeting criteria. It has to have 1 in contact. So it's like 1,001, and then stop count, and then back down 1,000, and there's the buzzer. Where's the 2? There's no 2. He has to have a shoulder on the mat and 45 degrees. He had it 45 degrees the whole time, yeah, for maybe 3 seconds, but the shoulder was only on the mat for that first second, and then came off. Like, so that's one. One shoulder in contact, the other within 45. That's
3 inches high bridge for both.
Ooh, almost perfect. 4 inches. Yeah, so both shoulders within 4 inches. So like you'll see this like if we get a bear hug on somebody, right? And they're sort of you're sort of holding them up. Like they're not on their back because you're in the small of their back, sort of holding bear hugging, right? Now both my shoulders within 4 inches, they're not touching, right? Both elbows is a criteria, so it doesn't matter how close the shoulders are to the mat. Both elbows, we're counting near fall here. If we do this, then we stop. Or maybe they'll roll you into some other version of the criteria, like, oh, now we're 45 degrees, or both within 4 inches or something, but both elbows, and then high bridge is the other. You see the high bridge one, we get like the cheek tilt, or sometimes a cradle, like, you know, he's like this. We're counting, even though the shoulders aren't within 4 inches, and they're not touching or whatever, but being held in a high bridge is near fall criteria. We're going to start counting. High bridge. Oh, you won't see much of this in middle school, but consider a high bridge if you look at that body position, you think, well, if I took the kid's head out from under them, right, would they fall and have their shoulders like hitting the mat or within criteria? So for instance, like This I wouldn't consider like a high bridge. Like take my head out. Are my shoulders hitting that? This I consider high bridge. Take my head out. Alright, so those are the 4 criteria. So learn those and just learn that when you see them, that's when you count. Stop counting when they leave that criteria. So like my example, the shoulder came off the mat, even though the shoulders were still within 45 degrees. I stopped counting. Back down. Okay, 1,001. That's I count. He's in criteria. Okay.
If they're alternating between like each of the criteria, you just keep counting.
As long as they stay in criteria. And remember, in near fall criteria, the count starts over anytime they come out of criteria. I had a guy one time about 15 years ago, a new official I trained in the high school season, and he was like using a cumulative thing. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Person was like coming out, and I caught him doing that. It's like, oh, no. The count starts over from 0, right? 1, 2. Oh, he's out of it. 1, 2. He's out of it again. 1, 2. So it's not a cumulative. It's got to be like 5 continuous seconds or 2 continuous seconds. Okay. All right. So that's the positioning on the mat when you're watching wrestling. Okay. So and when they're getting into a fall like that, you can get a little closer to them because sometimes you have to get a little closer because you can see. Not so much the middle school level, but the high school level is hard because some of you guys, you have the spotlight, and you're doing a duel on a mat that's black, and there's a spotlight, and it's like, crap, I can't even see under there. Like, I don't know if the kid's shoulder's touching or not. I gotta get like really close, closer than I want to. We had one of our colleagues yesterday at the regional he got knocked out. The kid's like flipped over and kicked him in the head. All these near fall, and he literally went out for like a few seconds. So we try to not get so close that we can get in their way or get hurt ourselves, right? So, all right. So that's positioning. Any questions about what we just covered there? That's sort of some bread and butter. Once you start doing the basics yourself, you'll start to get a little more familiar with that. And if we have someone sort of watching you and mentoring you, I like to take videos sometimes of new officials. I'm sitting on the side of the mat. I'm just on my phone, like taking some videos, so that when you're done with your match, you're like, come on over here, take a look at this. Like, tell me what you think, and then you're like, ooh, I'm a little close, or gee, I'm on the wrong side. Like, yeah, like it's okay. Like, think about it. Okay. Now, one other thing I'll say about positioning as a general thing is keep your eyes on the wrestlers at all times. And that may mean you're doing unnatural things. So if the scores table's over there, then if I have to go fix something at the table, and I go, okay, wrestler, stay in the center circle. Don't leave the circle on. Kind of like, and I'm walking backwards. I'm watching them both. And then I'm getting to the table, and I'm okay, like, so there was a 2 takedown green, 2 reversal red, 2 beautiful red. Like, but I got my eyes on. Like, I gave feedback to my colleagues yesterday because he was like, blood timeout. The blood station's over here. The table's over there, like the scores table. So the one kid who's bleeding is going over there. The other kid is just going over to his corner. And the official, like, turns his back on that kid, and he's going over here to the blood station. And I'm watching him the whole time. And so after that, and he did that like 3 times, like, because they had 3 different stoppages. Every time he's like, or he's turned his back on this kid now. He's over talking to the table, and the other wrestler's over there somewhere. And so after the match was over, I told him, I said, you realize that one kid, the green kid, he flipped you off? He did? Yeah. You didn't see that? I said, you didn't see it because you had your back to me. She said, really? I said, no, you didn't. I said, I'm just saying that to get your attention. See, you weren't watching. Like during that blood time, you were over here. The other kid's over there. You're not watching. You didn't know whether or not he like walked out of the gym or whatever. Like, so keep your eyes on him. So like when we go out of bounds, for instance, you'll see me. I'm like a sheepdog, so out of bounds, and then I'm like this. Let's go back to the center. Not, oh, we're out of bounds. Come on, let's go to the center. Like, I'm not looking at you right now. So train yourself with it. Always sort of keep them in your sight. And it may mean doing unnatural things, like I said, like walking backwards to the scores table because I'm still watching them. Or like in the case like this, my colleague actually took my feedback. So I was watching them at a subsequent match, and somebody was in blood time. Because I told him like, well, what should I do? I said, well, he's in blood time over here. Like, just position yourself over here like this, so you can see them treating the kid, and you can see the other kid. So you stand up like that. And so he did. Like I watched him do that. I was like, yeah, that's good. I said, because when we get evaluated to see it, they'll mark you down for something like that. So, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That really. So because over here, and I see the treatment. I see the other kid. Keep them both in sight, right? Okay. All right. Those are some basics. You'll get more familiar. All right. Let's in the final few minutes here. Safety. So safety is the number one thing. No coach is going to criticize you or get too upset with you if you're doing something for safety purposes. Oh, my kid was gonna pin him. Like, coach, like he was choking him. I had to stop him. And I go, you should have let him choke him. He's gonna get the pin. Like, coach, he was about to blow out a show. I don't care. He can have treatment later. He needs the 6 points. Like they may be frustrated in that moment, like, but they're gonna understand. They're gonna go, okay, I get it. And even if they disagree with your sort of judgment on the safety situation, if you're telling them it's for safety purposes, they're not going to go, well, screw safety. Like, who cares? They care about their kids the same way the other coach cares about their kids. So, if you think it's not, if you don't like it, stop it. Don't think about the rules. You're just looking at some action. You go, I don't like that. Just call it potentially dangerous. You don't have to penalize. It's just like, why are you stopping it? I just didn't like the way that her knee looked. Like, coach, I just for safety, I just didn't like the way that knee looked. All right. So if you don't know a rule or you don't think that's illegal, just stop it because you don't like the look of it. Just say, the shoulder was like coming up too far. That half was so bad. Like I thought she was gonna blow her shoulder out or something. So, all right. So just use that safety to safeguard the kids. Because I don't expect any of you to be expert and go, man, I've seen enough wrestling. Like, she's not really choking. Like, she can breathe. Like, girl's got a reverse half on her. Like, she's not blocking her air passages or squeezing her throat. Like, I can't breathe. Like, you don't know. Maybe she can't breathe because she has asthma. I don't know. It doesn't look like all that she's doing is holding onto her ankles. You go, I can't breathe. Maybe she can't breathe. I don't know. Just if the kid needs injury timeout or calls for it or says they can't breathe, stop the action. Just call an injury timeout. So if you're stopping it because they're asking for it or you're worried about them, issue an injury timeout. If you're stopping because you're the one worried, you're like, I don't know that, I don't know like the way that elbow looks or whatever. Like, we'll stop it. No injury timeout for the kid. It's us making a decision. Like I'm trying to protect her. Like that just didn't look good, coach. Like, hey, careful with that elbow like that. You got to be careful with that one. So you'll stop it for safety purposes. And if the kid is asking you to stop it, stop it. So they want you. Like I asked the kid yesterday, like, do you need injury time? Like, because I was worried. He's like, he's getting in, but like, you need injury time. Okay, like just let wrestling go on. But when I don't know, I just ask. And sometimes the kid goes, okay, fine. Injury time. Like, you're going to get an injury timeout because you want it. So we're protecting, all right? So for potentially dangerous, anytime you're not comfortable, call it. And just give the potentially dangerous sign. And if anybody's asking, I just didn't like the way that shoulder looked, coach. Or that arm was trapped, and she was tripping her down that way. Like I didn't want that to go back. All right. Illegal holds. When you see an illegal hold happen, just stop action. We don't wait to go, how much force is she putting on with that full Nelson? Is it just a couple ounces or 400 pounds? I don't know. You're not going to wait because that'll break her neck quite yet. Like, you're just, as soon as it happens, because it could happen. If you go from finger touch to 400 pounds instantly, and now somebody is breaking their necks. Like, so when you see the illegal hold happen, you're just going to go, because 98% of full Nelsons are not dangerous, and they're just an accident. Kid didn't mean it. Like, we're gonna I'm gonna try the other side. Oh, too slow, right? Like they put this one in before they took the other one out, and they're just blowing the whistle because once they're both on top of the head like that, that's a full Nelson. I don't care that you're not really putting pressure, that your transition is not too slow. Like you should have just, you want to do that, do this. Okay, so as soon as you see it, you just blow it back, okay, and issue the illegal hold, give the other kid a point. Or we get far enough in the sequence, the third penalty is 2 points, and the fourth one is a disqualification. So kid does 1, 1, 2, and then disqualified. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. And if you need to, make sure when you penalize a kid for an illegal hold, I do this at the high school level. Do you know what you just did? Like I had a kid throw a full Nelson at Kinko last weekend, and it's like he was kind of a newer kid. He put a full Nelson. I go, do you know what he did? He goes, no. I go, all right, you can't. You had to have Nelson. You can't put the other one in there. Yeah, just trust me on that, okay? So I asked him that kind of stuff. So like, you know what? Yeah, I know what I did. I didn't have the arm, the head and arm. Like, okay, good. Because we want them to know what they did wrong, especially like developmental wrestling like this, because they'll learn. Or you'll see me do this all the time. Did this a couple times yesterday. Kids you'll see this a lot. I mean, you use a demonstration partner. So they'll take them down and head and arm like this, right? Flip them over. Got her on her back now. I'm doing this. This is all legal until I do this. Because you have to have an arm in circle above the elbow. They think they've got the arm above the elbow. They're holding it above the elbow. It's not in circle. So when I see this, as soon as I see that, I blow the whistle and I grab their hand and go, look what you're doing. You have to have that arm in circle. Because if you just blow the whistle and then they like going, what were you doing? You didn't have the arms? Yes, I did. No, you didn't. So when I see that happen, it's like that, and I blow the whistle and I grab their hands literally. Like, look what you're doing. That has to be under here. So let them make sure they know what they did. If they locked hands or something, like, hey, you know what you did there? No, like you can't, once you trip him back to the mat, you can't keep the hands locked around the body. Okay. So help them to learn and just make sure they know what's getting enforced on them. Okay. Because them and their coach can work with that and say, hey, just let him go. You're just gonna keep locking hands on him, get disqualified. Like that happens a lot. Sometimes at middle school level, like they keep doing the same in violation. So coach is like, okay, let him go. Stop doing that. All right. End of match procedures. So match end. So again, keep our eyes on them. Now, up here in this area, not a problem. Down in the Kent Middle School League, where there's pretty serious wrestling, there's where schools like Tahoma live and Kentwood, and their feeder programs. There's a lot of kids down there that wrestle age 4 onward, like they've been in club wrestling their whole life. It's pretty serious stuff. And so on occasion, we have some bad behavior because some intense people. Up here, it doesn't be as intense, but sometimes you have to be on the watch out. So we just want to make sure that in this ceremony, this is part of our sport. It's a great tradition. Sportsmanship. We're going to show sportsmanship to each other. So we're going to shake hands. And then when they shake hands, what I'm doing usually is I'm holding onto their hands because I want to make sure that nothing bad happens. Like somebody wants to, or that like do one of like just slap real quickly. That's real handshake. Like I literally am doing that sometimes. I'm like, she's starting to walk away, and I'm like pulling her back. Like, no. There you go, real hands. Thank you. Like now I'll let it go. Yeah. So let's make sure we have the sportsmanship. I don't want you to penalize kids for unsportsmanlike conduct in general or coaches. Like you stay away from that. If you feel like somebody, I had to tell one of my colleagues this recently because he gave an unsportsmanlike conduct at Kinko to one of the coaches, and I told him, I said, look, if you're heading down that path and you're thinking about it, I said, just like draw the line for the coach, unless the coach has done something very flamboyant, like he's like said F you, or he's like acting up and everybody in the place is like watching this happen. Like if it's just a matter of like it's some interaction that you don't like, hey, how come you're screwing my kid or whatever? Like, and nobody else is like witnessing it. I tell them, well, you're starting to think that way. Just tell them to stop and draw a line from like, coach, like you can't say stuff like that. If you say stuff like that, that's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct. Because if he crosses that line, yeah, well, how come you're screwing my kid? Okay, I just told you, like that's unsportsmanlike conduct. Like, stop, like please. Like, so same for you guys. If you ever start to think that way about like something's going on in this ceremony, like kid pushes another kid, like you verbalize to him first, like, hey, let's knock off, like none of this nonsense. Like, let's just shake hands, right? You know, come on, this is a good match or whatever. Like, so unless it's something very blatant, like if I like push her in the face, okay, you know what? That there's no verbalizing that. We're just gonna penalize her, right? Straight out, right? But if let's say she like just shoved her like that or something, that's what I'm gonna say. Hey, stop that, okay? Like, gonna teach the kid in that moment versus just ringing them up for unsportsmanlike conduct. So you only use it if it's like, okay, yeah, I have to call this. Like everybody saw her right in the face, or heard her yell some demeaning thing at her, or whatever. But if it's just sort of like, yeah, if it's just some sort of thing like it's going on between us here, then we're just gonna verbalize. Hey, you don't need to that nonsense. You won the match. Like, just be gracious, okay? Like, so we raise a hand and off we go. And same thing, we're gonna keep our eyes on them as they go, because they might go, they go shake hands with the other coach, or so I'm just gonna keep my eyes on them to make sure that no nonsense happens. Down in the Kent League, one time I had an incident where the kid he got into it with the coach, the other coach, and then a fight broke out between that kid's dad and the opponent wrestler when I was trying to start the next match. I mean, like, very rare that this kind of stuff would happen, but that's why we're keeping eyes on stuff. So we can, because I saw what happened. I thought there was something going on that I couldn't hear. So then I walked over to that coach and I said, what happened? What did he say to you? He said, I couldn't quite hear exactly what he was saying, but I know it wasn't good. Whatever that kid was saying. And like, oh, okay. And that's how I was aware of, like, okay, like he's off the mat, and all of a sudden, as I'm getting ready to start, this commotion and security and the athletic director, like, what the hell is going on? Like, the kid's dad is attacking the opponent wrestler. Like, these are middle school kids. They're like anytimers. So, very rare, but that's why we keep our eyes on situations so we can de-escalate stuff if we see something happen, okay? So, anyway, so off they go, and then now we're ready for the next match. So, again, I'm gonna stand right in the middle of the and I'm waiting, and they check in, and then I head to toe them as they come out, right? It's lather, rinse, repeat. Like, you get into these habits, it's very, very rote kind of thing, checklist kind of thing, right? So, and then we start all that stuff again, position, again. Okay, so that's how we do it. Okay, last thing on guidelines here. So go ahead and sit down, girls. Thank you. Last thing on guidelines. Let's start with stalling. I don't want you to call stalling. Okay? In general. Call stalling if that kid's own mother is yelling at you to call stalling on her kid. That's when you'll call it. Okay? In other words, I want you to call stalling when it's not controversial. Otherwise, just talk to the kids, like I said. Come on, Green, you gotta try something. Like, can't just clam up down there. Like, talk them through it. And then once the whole gym knows that, come on, that kid's clammed up for like 30 seconds, like, and they're like, all right, good. When I call Green for stalling, like nobody's gonna disagree in this gym. They all knew, right? The thing I tell people, and I tell this to the high school officials, like the newer ones, like the stall call not made is forgotten 5 minutes later. The stall call you make, you're going to hear about it for the next 13 minutes of the duel. What did you do? Look at these on. Like, you just bought that because you hit his kid for stalling, and now he's just going to remind you for the next 13 matches of the duel meet, how come that kid get hit for the same thing? Like, so for all of you that are new, I don't want you in that controversy. So that's why you just don't call the stalling, and somebody may go, he should hit that kid for stalling. He's going to forget about that, like, the next match. And you're just going to let the kids work it out. It's very rare that even I had to do this at the Kinko heavyweight match last week, right? 2 state place winners. They're very good. I gave him the whole first period to work it out. So like, you know what? Like you guys are doing a lot of nothing, but I'm gonna let you get away with that for now. But sure enough, he kept doing enough of that, and it's like, okay, both of you stalling, and then it's just a matter of like, that's like, now you know, like let's get busy, and the one kid just doesn't take the hint. Like the other kid does. He starts doing takedown attempts, and so I have to reward that, and the other kid doesn't, and he continues to not do it, and he's making me make that call, and so of course I know people are in this. Oh, like they don't want to see the referee deciding a match because of stall calls, but this match got decided by stall calls. That was the winning point. In overtime, I have to hit the kid for stalling again, but he had to be hit because he wasn't doing anything. The other kid was. The other kid's like double leg underneath him, like 285 pounder. Like that's a big risk. I have to reward that. So the thing is, in general, for you guys though, I don't want you calling stalling and creating controversy. So just stay away from it and just talk them through it. And even if you're egregiously not calling it, they will work it out themselves. It may be a very boring match, but better to let them work it out than for one of you newer people, younger people, to try to work it out the way I had to work out that heavyweight match. Because I'm willing to have the conversation or take the heat from, and I did have to have the conversation with the losing coach. Like, how come then? Okay, if you want to know why, I'll tell you my thinking. Like, I don't want you all to have to be in that position. How come my guys stalling? Like, you're not equipped for that conversation. So we're gonna stay away from that. Second thing, coaches conferences. If the coach asks you something, just answer their question. Stay away from like interrupting matches because some coach constantly wants to know something. Like, and they may have legitimate things that they have questions about because maybe you're newer, you're not quite getting it right. It could be true. Like, but what we're trying to do is not keep interrupting matches. So coach is asking for something over here in the corner, and it's like, yeah, no, there's no near fall. Like he didn't have it within 45 degrees. Like you just tell him, okay? Don't avoid the. But I will tell you this, like in general, like I want you to, when you're addressing the coach, and you'll learn this once you get caught in this trap one time. So I'm gonna tell you this, and you're gonna forget it probably, but when the coach is asking you something, like so they go out of bounds and he's asking you something like, hey, was that a takedown? And you're gonna say like, no takedown, they have control or they were out of bounds or whatever. Like, don't look him in the eye. Okay, do not engage him in the eye. So he's asking like, was that a takedown? No control, they're out of bounds. Like, yeah. See, I gave him his answer, but if I look at him and I go, no, there's no control, he goes, oh,
Come on, man.
yeah, so now if I turn my back on him, I'm disrespecting him, right? Because we locked eyes. I said, no, take that. He said, oh, come on. Now if I turn, hey, now I feel this is like, oh, I owe it to him to keep engaging versus, okay, I'm gonna, no control, neutral. Like, so don't look at him. That'll keep you from getting caught in the spider's web of, he's got me. Because the takedown call will lead to another conversation. Well, what if that kid was pulling one finger back over like 30 seconds ago? Like, you don't know where this is going. So we're just trying to give him his answer without getting caught up in a big discussion. Now, if you get a coach that wants to have a long discussions about stuff and he wants to go to the table, go to the table with him. But I'm just going to tell you this: if this is a habit, and this coach is going to the table like frequently and interrupting matches, then at some point now you're going to just get a little more formal. Go, are you asking for a conference? Like, not that you're going to give him a coach misconduct, but I just want this coach to think twice about like just casually always wanting to interrupt match because you're a high school kid and they think, oh, I can influence your call. Like, so let's just get him in the mode of, okay, wait a second, coach, come on, like we've had a lot of discussions. Are you asking for a conference? Like, we're going to formalize it. And at high school level, I always formalize it, but for you, I don't want you to formalize it. Okay, I think I need to change my ruling. You get a coach misconduct. Like, you're not going to issue those. So, in general, just talk to them, give them what they want to know. In the worst case situation, something's sort of going sideways on you, or sort of there's some controversy going on, this coach is going on about something, like invoke the other coach if you feel like you need some help. So like, okay, coach, can you come over here too? Like, because he's like beating me up right now, and I'm like, I'm a kid, and this guy's an adult, and he's just kind of overrunning me. I think I made the right call. Like, get the other coach involved, because now it's like, hey, come on, man. Like, the kid's doing the right thing. Like, let that other coach start to take that lead or de-escalate versus you're sitting there trying as a, you know, a 60, 70-year-old person dealing with a 30, 40, 50-year-old person. Like, like, okay, well, hold on. Hey, Coach, can you come over here too? Like, let them start to work out, because the cooler heads hopefully will prevail, and the other coach might go, yeah,